Are you having fun? Are you having fun being a turd? Is it really that exciting? It must be pretty exciting. I'll tell you. Cool kids. I got it. Look, I woke up. I saw some stuff in the news. Oh, read the news today, oh boy. So we don't read the news anymore. We just watch the news, right? Um, I mean, I guess we do kind of. We read tweets and such, but look, I think we all know what happened. I don't really talk about this stuff on this channel, but I think we just hit a new game. The game has changed. So I want to talk about how that affects us in Silverland. So this should be a fun video. Just my thoughts. I'm not giving investment advice. Simply a fun-filled collector talking about fun-filled collection stuff and market variables that could affect collecting and just being an enthusiast here, enthusiastically talking. And my gosh, thoughts and prayers as always for these kind of incidents, but I think this one's especially heinous simply because of what the individual who received the victim, what their stances were on good faith discussions and talking rather than getting violent. And I think that adds a nuance to this that a lot of people are missing. And I honestly had to block more people on Facebook just in the last few hours, people I've known for years, than I've ever had to block in a single day. So it's a very polarizing issue. I am not unblocking these people, though, because if you don't have the good sense to separate your politics from tragedy, and you have the audacity to say the stuff I read, you kind of are a garbage human being. So I'm sure you've all experienced it. I'm not the only one. I've had several people come forward and tell me that they've been blocking people they've known for years for the very same reason. So the Western world's very polarized, guys. I've never seen anything like it in my life. The 1960s, I don't even think comes close. I think we're in the 1850s again, except it's on a scale that even they never saw, because it's the entire Western world. You look at what's going on in Europe. Anyway, the reason this matters is geopolitical climates affect markets. So hold that thought. All right. So anyway, we had an assassination of Charlie Kirk, as you may or may not have heard. Cool kids. And there ain't nothing cool about assassinations. Okay. Now, I know sometimes that can be hypocritical because we're big fans of regime change in other countries as Americans, and we like to drop cluster bombs on foreigners and such. And honestly, I gotta be real, I don't really agree with most of that stuff that goes on. We need to mind our own business, but again, that's a totally different discussion. What is important, friends, is to know that this will be a game changer. We don't normally shoot people for saying things we don't like in this country. Not like I said, not since the 60s have we really seen this kind of reaction, but we've seen it multiple times recently. School shootings are up. I believe we're cruising for a bruising. I want you guys to not take my word for it. I want you to do your own research, but I can tell you with certainty that the caliber of human being we produce as a nation has dropped precipitously. I'm speaking of military abilities, coping with life in general. Our youth today are just not even just way behind where they should be. They are not in any way anything resembling what similar people of the age group were. Testosterone levels are lower in the men. The females, they don't respect anything. They're kind of the primary pusher of the ideas that led to that assassination today, if you want to know the truth. And I believe that the entire country is in a cultural rot. And it's going to be it's going to vary depending on where you're at. If you're in a rural area, the rot might not be quite as bad. But you've all met these cancers. You've all seen what I'm talking about. And I'm sick of pretending anymore. Like everything's going to be okay. After I saw that story tried to be buried in North Carolina of that young woman being ended. That was a bit, and then this today, these are big deals. This isn't just small stuff. These are not typical, behaviors in this country. This is not how we're supposed to act. And quite frankly, I don't think we're going to get off this time as easy as we did in the 60s. In the 60s, the boomers turned into yuppies, and they calmed down as they actually had skin in the game. I don't think any real economist is predicting that the lots of the newer generations are going to improve to the extent that they did for the boomers. And quite frankly, I've actually seen the exact opposite being projected. So you will see a United States where every generation after the boom will have a worse lot in life than those before. We have reached peak Americana. Pax Americana has ended. And today's shots, destroying a debater for saying things you don't like. And they're not going to catch that shooter, I think. We'll see. Maybe. They got satellites and things. Maybe they'll get them. But I don't think they will. I think it was a coordinated strike. I say this because of where the shooter was positioned, the shot, the clothing and tactical nature of the shot. Whoever did that clearly knew what they were doing. We still don't know anything about the Pennsylvania shooter. But I guess the big question is, how will this affect the price of silver? And the answer is, I don't know. It all depends on how bad it gets. I do know this. There is going to be a lot more political tension now. There are people, I keep seeing the same talking points being projected by the usual suspects, which I've now blocked. And those talking points are that, well, there was a shooting in Minnesota last month. Well, the shooting in Minnesota last month is a false equivalency because, one, the shooter was closely associated with Tim Walz and the Democratic Party, and there is no one that has claimed the shootings were politically motivated. Also, you're talking about a statewide story versus a worldwide story. And finally, Charlie Kirk was not a politician. He was a debater. He was talking. He used words. So comparing the two really is absurd. But I noticed it's the same people, so they must be getting this from somewhere. And I guarantee if you look at CNN or MSNBC, you're going to see those goofballs saying these things, which reminds me, I'm not going to get into it too deep, but there was some very awful things said at MSNBC when Charlie Kirk was shot. It was insinuated that the shooter was one of Charlie Kirk's followers who accidentally shot it because rednecks and shit. And then there was another insinuation that his rhetoric is what got him there and he deserved it. And that is pretty dangerous talk from a little wormy slug. who probably couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag or talk their way out of a wet paper bag, honestly. But yeah, if the cancer gets old for you guys, just know that it will affect silver and gold prices. We just don't know how. It all depends on how it plays out. Now, if we get Civil War II, which I'm not predicting, but if we did, all bets are off. Okay, we're in an actual SHTF, brother versus brother kind of scenario. You're going to see things that we can only wish never happened, but have happened before. And yeah, it's going to be horrifying. The casualties will be strong on both sides. It'll be a rural versus urban war. I believe the numbers will be on the side of the urbanites, but the ultimate victory will go to the country folk only because of logistics. Cities cannot sustain themselves, and that is PVC damage. That's not good. Probably should take those out of there, but it's already done, so yeah. Yes, so the thing to know is, guys, that this lovely metal here, this lovely, is going to be affected if things get out of hand. Typically, monetary investments do very well in times of uncertainty. Interest rates are set to go down. The dollar's going down too. Both of those are very bullish for silver. However, and Salivate Metals has mentioned this many times recently, and he's not wrong. Silver should be performing better than it is right now. Okay, so that's kind of scary because honestly, yeah, the fundamentals should have silver up more than it is. That's what I'll say, because silver's more volatile and gold is just going up. Silver is not moving at quite the clip, and that is interesting. It's interesting, but I've always said, and many people don't agree, but I believe silver is easier to manipulate than gold. And I believe that there is a great deal to be gained from not allowing silver to reach high prices, especially for those who pull the levers of power. So, again, conspiracy theories, blah, blah, blah. And I don't believe that they have enough power to hold silver back indefinitely. Eventually, the markets will find equilibrium. Now, I do believe that, so Sal and I agree on that, and I will tag Sal in this. He may or may not watch it, but I will tag him. What do we got here? I got something in a capsule. Oh, it's Franklin's. We love Franklin's. Oh, boy. So, yeah, guys, the silvers and the golds, they're going to do things. What things? Only time will tell. But if you guys know, let me know, because my goodness. Yeah. What's your prediction for silver by the end of the year? I'm going to say, and this is based on past performance, in no way am I using technicals to make this determination. This is purely based on past performance. I believe that silver will hit 50 by 2027, unless now there are other things that could happen. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So silver will not hit $50 an ounce anytime soon if the markets collapse. Okay. Now, why do you say that? Shouldn't silver do great? No, silver will not do great if we have a depressionary crash, because silver is a it's a mostly industrial metal at this point. And what happens during crashes like that? Well, what you're going to see is an increase in job losses. and you're going to see drops in prices. Okay, so if prices are being depressed, what'd you knock down, turd? Dear Lord, why would you knock that whole box down? That's crazy. Oh, it's really gay. No. Anyway, so yeah, prices are going to be depressed. Ooh, a chunky metal. Ooh, this could have been in my Exonomia video. A funky silver metal from England. Ooh. Anyway. So if prices are depressed, jobs are down. No, if you have the silver, you're going to be better off than people who are, in other things, dollar denominated stuff especially. But you're not going to, reap the whirlwind till later when the markets come back. That's one consideration. I should put this with my other kangaroos, but yeah, I think we'll do that. It's all very interesting. I don't know, guys. I just don't know. I was heartbroken to see that young man, 31 years old, guys. A wife, 2 kids. Just starting his life out, doing so well for himself. He's honestly, he was killing it. He found his niche, which was, the World Wide Web or whatever the cool kids are calling it now. And he was making good arguments. I didn't agree with everything the dude had to say. Charlie Kirk, that is. I thought he was a bit naive on certain aspects, especially feminism. So I believe he thinks that feminine nature is static and that it hasn't changed in the last 50 years, but I believe it has fundamentally changed and cannot be fixed without tremendous suffering. I believe that feminism, third wave feminism, fourth wave feminism are a cancer on society. They are misandry disguised as progress and egalitarianism, and quite frankly, we passed equality decades ago. Men are at a disadvantage in court and in many aspects of society. Legally speaking, they are at a disadvantage, and women are not victims inherently. As a matter of fact, women have the power now to victimize any man they want, and they can do that with false claims. That's just how society has shifted, and that power dynamic, that pendulum, will swing back. But when it does, how's that going to go? Another source of wildness. I don't know. I don't know how all this is going to play out, guys. I know it's all bad. So I didn't agree with Charlie there. I don't believe wifing a woman up without doing your homework is a good plan, gentlemen. But that's a different discussion. And I don't believe that women today are the same as women of yesteryear. I believe that women used to police each other. They don't anymore. As a matter of fact, they encourage one another to behave in a profane manner that's bad for society as a whole. And I think until you change that dynamic of the country, there is no real hope. I don't believe Western civilization will survive what's coming in any way that you or I will recognize. And I believe that's all the work of progressivism. And I don't really see any way. You can't put the genie back in the bottle, right? You can't make people start being sane and make good decisions. So, back to silver. Silver, I believe, will hit 50 if we don't have a collapse or war. Actually, the war might push it up. If we don't have a societal collapse, silver to 50 is a given. It may even go above that. If there is a collapse, silver will not hit 50 anytime soon. All right. Have a nice day. Like, share, subscribe, all that jive. Bye, bye, bye.